Welcome back to PoPolitickin.com, your home for self-help meets hip-hop. Make sure you go on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, YouTube. Type in PoPolitickin. Listen to my interviews since 2008. 1-2-1-2. I'm in place to be with Boog Brown. How you doing?
All right. How you doing?
I'm doing great. So I always ask people about their names. So how did your name come about?
Well, my name is Elsie, and in college, my homegirls and homies and such used to call me El Boogie. And so when I started freestyling with the crew, the Never Empty crew, which is an offshoot of the Eastern Michigan University Poetry Society, once I started freestyling and kind of got good and then decided that I was going to rap, one of my brothers from that group was like, yo, you should say, call yourself Boog Brown. That's fly. And I was like, oh man, that is kind of fly. So I adopted it. I was gifted that name.
You know, but you remember Downtown Julie Brown?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
All right. So I was reading, it says Atlanta by way of Detroit. Is it still, you still in Atlanta?
No, I just moved home about 3 years ago. I'm back at the crib, which is hence the t-shirts.
Okay.
And I used to work at Dillard's Delights with Uncle Herm, and I was about for 3 years now. Yeah.
Okay. So just talk about your background. Like, how did you get involved with music?
Poetry, really, and then also, poetry. You know, you want to write, you want to have an escape, you want to have something that you can express yourself with. Well, I mean, I did. I needed that, and poetry was that. And then once I knew how to put words together, then I stepped out on some, maybe let me try this, let me try that.
Yeah, the thing how I found out about you because I actually just interviewed Shay Noir, and then I was just looking at all the Apollo Brown stuff, and I was like, okay. So I saw you had an old project, but I listened to it, and that shit was going. I was like, okay. So what year did you start? I was like, shit. When I find out about people like you and I didn't know them, I feel like I like, damn, I should have been on my shit. I should know about you sooner.
Hey man, no time like the present. Never late, never too soon. That's how we do things. I started officially in 2009 with Grind Season Volume 1. Probably do a Volume 2, but in 2009, I started with Grind Season Volume 1. That's actually how Mike from Mellow Music Group found out about me. Because Apollo and I didn't know each other before then. This was a whole internet interaction. And I want to say we all found out about each other on Twitter. And I was a fan of Mellow Music Group's catalog because I was a fan of Diamond District. And from there, it was like, oh man, I know this catalog. And then we kind of knew each other from there. So Mike introduced me to Apollo. Me and Apollo got down on some work. We actually just did a song on his, not his latest, because his latest is with Shay, but the Sincerely Betrayed project. Yeah, I actually got to join on that one too. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Shout out to Mello and Apollo and all
that. So what is hip hop to you?
That's a good question. And it's funny because I've heard that question before. I've been asked that question before, but
it's different when I ask it.
It's different because now it means something different, you know? Hip-hop is such a valuable tool. It means to me that we are responsible for its growth, development, content, reach, all of that. We as a people, as its consumers, and we as its practitioners have a responsibility to make sure we push the genre forward like jazz, like opera, or I guess opera is a bad example because they don't, no, there are new arias every day. So anyway, yeah, like you're supposed to push the genre for. From what I can tell. So that's what it means to me. I'm supposed to push myself. It's the place where I feel free. It's the place where I can challenge and be challenged in a safe way, but in a very still, sharp, and still kind of way. Hip hop is a valuable tool. That's what it means. It means a lot.
Then what would you say your story is as an MC?
One more time.
What would you say your story is as an MC?
You keep fading on that last part.
Oh, I said, what's your story?
In what?
What's your story? Your story as an MC.
I know. I heard the first part, but it's the last part.
No, like your story as a rapper, as an MC.
Gotcha. I'm a late bloomer. I get my lessons, and sometimes I learn them right off, and sometimes I don't. Story is a very honest one. It's a very a story of growth, a story of development, a story of finding purpose. It's a pretty complex story. I don't know how long you have.
So I was reading. You still it was early in your career, but I see you still talk about all this on your projects. What's Dope Girl Magic? Yeah, I was doing my homework. You see that? I was studying.
So Dope Girl Magic was supposed to only be a crowd motivating kind of song, like a call and response kind of song. And just to kind of just get the energy in the room moving. And it has since become one of the favorites live. I mean, I don't know that I can go to a venue and not do it. You know, I've tried that before, and then you'll always hear somebody, I don't care where I'm at, it'll be somebody somewhere, like between UPS and Dope Girl Magic, somebody's gonna shout it out in the crowd, like, yeah, do UPS, do Dope Girl Magic, somebody. And I love it, and I'll continue to do it because of that, because it's so as ill to see. But that's one of my favorite joints. It was just supposed to be like a little ditty bop. It wasn't supposed to go as far as it went, but then it was like, I hadn't even recorded the song by the time, like, I just did it live. Like, I hadn't even recorded it. I just did it. I don't think I recorded it. No, I might have recorded it. And then, like, Illa put it away, and then I did it live, and then it jumped off. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying then when I listen to your music, I hear like, I hear bars, I hear content, I hear flow. So how do you feel about just the current state of hip hop? First, just overall, but then with the females, because a lot of females ain't rapping like that no more. You know how they rapping now.
This is true. But what I'm not here to do is shame any Black women about anything that they actively doing responsibly and actively, right? I say responsibly and actively because there are some places where I draw the line, but that's not a discussion that I have in public. That's something that I discuss with my niece. That's something that I discuss with her mother. You know what I'm saying? That's something we as Black women discuss between and amongst each other to make sure that we have the perspective and representation of, that's you?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what that is. I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is either.
Yeah,
anyway, I can be, look, if such and such want to do X, Y, and Z, that's cool. That don't have no effect or bearing on me. You know what I'm saying? I think the state of hip hop, it allows the space for people to showcase who they are. And if that's who you are, genuinely 110%, then that's who you are, genuinely 110%. And who am I to say? Because I'm going to do me. So why would I be infringing on somebody else's opportunity and ability to do them? However, I will say there should be a bit more discretion as far as content because, and this is really the parent's job or guardian's job or people in your community's job to not censor, but have a bit of discernment when consuming. You know, just because you 22 and you got your 6-year-old sister in the back seat, maybe put the homegirl that's talking about all these other stuff, maybe that's not content for a 6-year-old. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like everything in moderation. I feel like everything has its place. So if I want to listen to who I want to listen to, I'm going to do so not in front of my 7-year-old niece, because that's not for her. Feel me? She can get the Kids Bop version, but you know what I mean? I think everybody should have a space to be able to express themselves however they feel like is good for their soul and is honest and genuine. But
So who you listening to right now?
some quality control for sure.
I would say who you listening to right now? Some artists you listening to.
Are you talking about overall, or are you talking about?
I'm talking about like right now. Who you listening to? Like who you woke up listening to?
Sampa the Great. Rock, Lyric Jones, Il Camille, Dynasty, E-Turn. That's my homegirl too. Did I say Lyric Jones? I feel like I did. Okay. Star, formerly Star the emcee. You might have heard her on.
No, I interviewed her. Classic. Actually, I was happy because I saw your Twitter, and I saw a retweet, and it was naming all the MCs. And I interviewed her, and I saw Eternia was on there. I interviewed her. I get that whole list. Yeah, I'm gonna get that whole list. I'm gonna knock it out.
For sure. I'm listening to a lot, but mostly I kind of just been in a Willie Hutch kind of bag, Roy Ayers, very classic. I just been kind of on my classics: Heat Wave, Earth, Wind and Fire, Denise Richards, Angela Bofield, Minnie Riperton. You know, I've been kind of just going back to see how the feeling of an album feels different, and I want my projects moving forward to feel like albums. And so I'm working on researching the essence of that feeling. Like, what are the elements of those records that make me feel so good that I want to share that with my followers and fans too? You know what I mean?
That's dope. I would say, then I saw you had a new project called Late Bloom.
So man, that's not the new one, but yes, I love that project.
Yeah, you talk about. I mean, you had a couple. You can talk about your whole discography. Just talk about some of your projects. It's all good.
Word, because the Late Bloom is one of my favorites. The Late Bloom came about in 2013, and I mean, it was just an unexplainable kind of time. Like, everybody was in the right spot, everybody was in the right mind space, everybody had the ability, and everybody wanted to. You know what I mean? It was a really good feeling out. Really good to be able to kind of flex a little bit, kind of change and see what I can do, push a couple boundaries. I was going through a real tough time, and so it was really dope to have that as my therapy. And then for my brothers and sisters and everybody to show up, it was just, the Late Bloom is probably hands down one of my favorites. One of my favorites to have worked on. And but the newest joint is kind of a clearing of the cache kind of thing, where the content that I'm writing now, and when I say now, I mean like as of this year, as of 2 years ago, maybe 2 to 3 years ago. So the content that I'm writing now is a different type of feeling and mood and exchange than what I wrote and how I wrote on Summer Days, which is the current project out now. Shout out to Fitzwell out in Georgia, who is the producer of that project. Summer Days Volume 1. I'll send that to you, actually.
Yeah, I'm saying, describe your creative process when you're making music.
Mm, well, most times, honestly, lately, I'll get up early in the morning and sit down and just be quiet for a second. Oh, the goal is always like 5 to 10 minutes, and I just get my download. And sometimes words come, and sometimes topics come, and I chop it up with my partner, and he's very knowledgeable, especially about hip. He's very knowledgeable, period. But like when we just go back and forth, like talking to great minds about what they would like to hear or what they could hear, or sometimes people will hit me like, "Yo, Boog, I ain't heard a song about X, Y, and Z. Maybe tackle that." And it's like, okay, cool. And then it's finding the ways to tackle it, the most creative way to tackle it. How do you say it without saying it, or how do you be subtle, or does it deserve a direct say? Like, do I directly say this, or do I need to, finesse it? I mean, all with a level of finesse, but you know, I read
Would you like to read?
not as often as I should. I smoke, you know what I'm saying? Microdose, you know, have a cocktail, interact with my people, and laugh and joke and think about things. You know what I mean? I think I'm a thinker, so which is, a dual-edged sword for the most part, because sometimes I'll get caught up in my head and won't come out. But I'm a thinker, so I'm always considering how something is conveyed, portrayed, and otherwise.
Yeah, I like something you said. So where's that download come from?
The
He said I
universe,
get my download. So where you get your download from?
the universe.
Okay. I think I even heard you. I was listening to one of your songs. I heard you say something about manifest, right?
Yeah.
So you big into that too? Cause I like talking about manifestation too.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. Because I feel like, from what I can tell with my life, everything that I've ever resisted and been opposed to has played itself out in my life. And then when I stopped doing that and just started being like, damn, it's so nice to be in a comfortable house with my bills paid and things taken care of, right? Once I started leaning my energy and vibration towards that, it made it a bit simpler to stay in that space. Not saying that I stay in that space, because I'm a work in progress, just like we all are, I think. And but it's so much easier to jump back into it when I jump out or when I fall out. So now those days where I'm down in the dump only last 3 days as opposed to 6, you know? So yeah, it is a training process. The brain ain't nothing but a muscle. Like, you gotta train that too.
I'm saying, what are some techniques you use? Somebody told me a cupping method. I ain't do that one yet. They were saying like get a cup, get 2 cups, then 1 cup you write down your goals, and then you pour it in there, then you drink it. But I haven't did it yet. I just think it and write it out. I just visualize.
Yeah, I never heard of that before, but that sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Just Google that. It'll come up.
Okay.
It was like she was young, told me about it. It's supposed to be something new because she's like 23 and she told me about it. I never heard it either.
Nice. Okay, well shoot, I'll look that up too. But what was the question exactly again?
Just how do you manifest? Like what techniques you do?
Oh, shit. I really honestly, it's my brain more than anything. I light a candle. I set my intentions. I write it down. I say it out loud as much as I can. I talk to it. I talk to people that I trust about my ideas. Not before sitting and thinking over it. Not before asking the ancestors. Not before sitting in quiet and just receiving my downloads. You know what I mean? Like, I manifest through honoring what is coming to me. if it comes to me in a meditation, or if it comes to me in a quiet moment and I write it down, I'm more likely to do it, or I'm more likely to go back to it and exercise what it is I need to do it than not. You know, I seek out people who will back me or validate me and hold me up. You know, I keep company with people that are doing things. You know, I talk about ideas with people with great minds. So that's what helps me manifest, because it gives me the momentum and the drive to stay in the pocket. Gives me the ideas, and it gives me inspiration. It keeps me inspired. I mean, if you in a spot where you lacking inspiration and lacking the stuff that you need to do your best, then it's gonna be real difficult for you to manifest. So you gotta change your mind and then change your environment. Well, as your mind changes, your environment changes anyway.
Yeah, you actually kind of, that's what I was going to say. I noticed with myself, is like, if you want it too much, then you're not going to get it, because if you want it too much, that's like a state of lack. So you got to practice gratitude for the stuff you already got, and it'll just keep flowing in.
Yeah. And then talk about it, think about it, and feel about what it is you do want. Like, it's possible. Feel like it's there. Feel like, you know, my dollar amount is my dollar amount that's in my bank account right now. But what I see happening and the type of work that I see me doing requires a good amount of money, a whole lot of money. So I can't think small. I can't think about my actual bank account. I got to just be focused on the fact that this is what I want to do, and this is going to take money. So I'm just going to go forward like I got the money. You know what I mean? Whatever I can do to move this vision forward, I'm going to do that regardless of what my bank account looks like. And then the money comes. You know? I know that shit sounds crazy and not true, but it's fucking true.
So what are some of your interests outside of music?
Psychedelic. I'm getting into gardening. I'm about to, I was hoping that I could start this welding class or this welding apprenticeship, but COVID happened, and then it kind of made everybody a little distant. And travel, tour and travel. I love to travel. And food, oh my God, I love to cook. I love to cook.
So we always ask a question, then we say, we have a question, say if you can meet 3 people, it can be dead or alive, whatever 3 people you want to meet, who would 3 people to be, and what would you cook for them?
Okay. Marvin Gaye. I would make him fried okra and fried catfish, or white fish. Corn on the cob, and some greens and salad. Leonardo DiCaprio. I think he's nuts and gorgeous. We would just have oysters on a hash shell. We wouldn't cook them. We would have cocktails and oysters. Who else? I'd like to meet Aretha Franklin, because I know she got some motherfucking stories. I don't know if Young Ree would let me cook for her, dog. I think Young Ree might cook herself. I don't know. I would make her my lasagna, because my lasagna is the one, right? chicken lasagna.
Okay.
The veggie is pretty on point too, but that chicken joint is
And then I was gonna ask you, just share one of your stories. It could be anything you want to talk about.
uh, hmm, hmm. I'll tell you a story about me, right? I used to be so annoyed by children that it made my skin crawl. Like I really didn't like it. Like, get them away from me. Don't bring them around. No, the kids aren't invited to the event. And then I met my nephew, who's 15 now, and it still didn't really click. And then my nephew Cameron, and then my niece Rylan, and they changed my whole perspective on so many things. And it's a part of the reason why finding my purpose has been so important to me in these last couple months and weeks, so that I can present them with something and they can appreciate and have generational wealth, understand about credit and financial literacy, the importance of travel and education, how to cook a meal, how to clean a house, how to keep a household. You know, all these things you need tools to use to be able to do. And so those three little children, not so little anymore, totally transformed me into a person that I'm proud to be. I wasn't, not that I was super bad. I mean, we all got our shit, and I've been through quite a good amount of things to have been that way and justified it for longer. You know, still sat in that bullshit, but it doesn't serve anyone. Largely me. It does not serve me to stay there, but it definitely doesn't serve the people who I say I want to help. Doesn't serve them at all. For me to stay short-sighted and simple. And so those people help me expand to a place where I can actually get off like I really need to. Like, really, I mean, the music that I've made thus far is really, really dope. But the shit that I'm doing right now that I can't wait for you to hear is where I want to be, is where I want to go.
Yeah, that was the next question I was gonna say, because you already been in the game for over a decade. So where are you trying to be now? Like, what are your goals with your career?
Well, I mean, shoot, I just want to be better and better. Honestly, I mean, if you think of a doctor, right? How long does a doctor go to school? 12 years. You know what I mean? Plus residence. Like residency. You have to practice something. You have to do something for a period of time before you can say that you're a master of a craft, or say that you know, before you actually catch your footing in your, who was that? Was that Miles Davis that say it take a long time to sound like yourself?
Mm.
You know, it takes a minute for you to, well, for me, it took me a minute to find out where my purpose was with this music, with this gift, and actually present it in that way, as opposed to just knowing how to rap and rapping because I can rap. You know? I mean, saying what it is for my own purpose, for my healing purposes and for my breadcrumbs, yeah, I mean, all of it is relevant and all of it is relative too. So, shit.
I didn't say anything about Grammy. All the other people I've been asking that question to, everybody be saying Grammy all the time. I'm like, why y'all want a Grammy so bad? Everybody saying Grammy. That kid kind of crazy to me.
I wouldn't mind a Grammy. Let me not fuck around, because if you say once you are able to put Grammy award winning Boog Brown, that's a whole different tax bracket. That's a whole different time frame. That's a whole, you know what I'm saying? That's different. But I'll be totally happy if I don't get it. You know, I'll be still totally happy because I'm making something that's important. The amount of people that are in my inbox, like, yo, you said something that really changed my perspective on X, Y, and Z. I'll take that. I'll take that any day of the week. I definitely want the accolades because the accolades mean that you can put your resume out and it looks a different way. But it's not the end all be all.
Yeah,
not for me anyway.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the thing with me too. I feel like, cause I said like I've been doing this for like almost 12 years, and I feel like artists like you should be getting more recognition, cause like the mainstreams don't push y'all like they should.
Well, I mean, the mainstream
You
don't,
got
but
that. I
then
mean, everything
also,
is quality. Everything is quality. So it's like you dope. So it's just like they're just not, like I said, they. I don't know. I guess they push you. They want to push.
sorry about that.
Uh,
I missed the question too. Pardon.
no, I was just asking you. I was just saying like I just felt like I was talking about. I just feel like you should get more recognition, like just artists like you in general. Cause I feel like the mainstream doesn't push artists like you. So we kind of like people like us don't hear y'all because they're not pushing the artists like y'all. Do you feel
Well,
that?
I mean, that's where it takes us, right? We are the network. We are the people that are going to push us, or we are not. We can't rely on the mainstream to do that. I've never relied on the mainstream to do that, and it's always been everybody finds out or gets it in their own time. But we want somebody to spoon feed us for some reason, and not use our own two hands to figure out what it is we like, what it is we want. You know, if you pull up Queen Latifah or Bahamadia and you look at the like artists, sooner or later down that line, you'll find somebody that is the same. So that's taking a mainstream artist and then attaching it to another artist. It takes us to be able to push that because I can say, who has picked up my project? You know what I mean? Like I've been pushing my project, and it's some dope sites and blogs and people and family and supporters that have been pushing it too. But who who's gonna be like, yo, I got a man's at such and such a place. He listen to music, send it to them. You know, it takes us to take care of us. We can't be waiting on somebody else to do that. And I just refuse to wait and even compare. It's not even, it's apples to oranges. Mainstream is mainstream. I'm not yet anyway. I mean, maybe I will be once I do some scores and some audiobooks and some voiceover work and all that stuff. Maybe it'll change and I'll be mainstream and I'll be able to access that audience. But honestly, I don't understand how we lost the idea of community. And community includes taking care of the black dollar and making sure that it runs in the community and that it stays here. Like we gotta. I'm not waiting on CNN to come interview me until I send CNN, something for them to interview me about, and then I'll be like, oh, where's CNN at? You know.
So what advice would you give to new artists?
Same advice that my brother Illustrate gives me all the time. Shout out to Illustrate. Tell your story. Not someone else's story. Not a rendition of. Tell your story. Be honest about your story. It will help somebody. It will change somebody. It will affect somebody. It will affect you. It will change you. But tell your story. And don't, if you can manage it, right? Be open to constructive criticism and correction. It is important. You got to be able to know the difference. It's got to be from a trusted source. Nobody's telling you to listen to the haters out or haters like haters. I mean, nobody's telling you to listen to those guys or anything, but get you a mentor and a trusted source and make sure you stay open to correction and learning and understanding from, get you a couple sources if you can. But that will help, especially when dealing with contracts, especially when dealing with, negotiations. Get you a lawyer, definitely. to to look over those contracts that you might be so geeked to sign, but you haven't read fully and don't necessarily understand the legal jargon. Get somebody to help you with that.
And what would you like to say?
Oh. Stay in control. Stay in control of your art.
What you mean by that?
Pardon?
I said, what you mean by that? Stay in control of your art.
Don't do art for the sake of others. Do art for you. That's what I mean by staying in control of your art. Because you'll be out there dancing around in a fucking miniskirt and you're really more of a tomboy. Why would you do that? You know?
Right.
Stay in control of your art. Stay in control of your narrative, you know?
And what would you like to say to your fans and supporters?
Thank you. Thank you. So much more to come. Stay tuned, bear with me. I'm working and building and growing, and everybody's gonna have fun times and benefit. And there'll be music, videos, merchandise, and tours, and all the stuff. So just hang with me. I appreciate you for hanging with me thus far because there's no place for me without you. There's no way for me without you. I mean, I will continue to make art, but to continue to thrive with art is a codependency that I have with my family, followers, fan base, and my work. So thank you. That's all. You know what I mean? Thank you. Oh, and talk to me about what you want to hear and see from me too. Like interact with me. Go to boogbrown.com and get on the email list and talk to me about stuff. Like reach out. Don't be inappropriate. I do get tired of those emails, but just reach out and chop it up. Because I like to hear, I like to think, I like to talk, I like to, politics.
I want to say thanks for coming through politicking with me.
Yes, sure. Thanks for having me.
No doubt. What's your social media again?
You can find me at boogbrown.com. You can find me at OneBoogBrown on Instagram. I am Boog Brown on Twitter, just Boog Brown on Twitter. And Boog Brown 1 on Facebook.